Gar. Greetings, I am Tad Larkin, the lore master of Manda-LORE, and today I'm going to be digging through the archives to elaborate on the ancient Sith Lord Exar Kun. Exar Kun was a human male who existed some 4,000 years before the Battle of Yavin 4. While much of Exar Kun's early history and childhood is unknown to us, we do know he spent much of his early life as a Jedi Knight, apprenticing under the Kravaki Jedi Master Vodo Siosk Boss. Kun was a skilled swordsman, favoring the saber staff, a lightsaber with blades protruding from either end of the hilt, and through years of practice became among the best of his peers. His dedication wasn't limited to just the sparring fields, as Kun was also an avid student, absorbing whatever knowledge he could in his studies of the Force to aid him in becoming the best Jedi he could be. Despite constant warnings from his master, Exar continued to delve deeper into his studies of the Force, which included the powers of the dark side, believing himself to be such a mighty Jedi that he was far too strong to be tempted by the dark side of the Force. The Jedi Council, however, began to see Exar's thirst for knowledge slowly transform into a thirst for power, but by then it was far too late. In 3997 BBY, during his training on Dantooine, Kun discovered a holocron created by his master, and, allowing his curiosity to get the better of him, he opened it. Within the holocron, he found information regarding Freedon Nad, a Sith Lord who, years earlier, had conquered the Onderon system and bent it to his will. However, his lesson was cut short when Master Boss entered the room and confiscated the holocron. This event piqued Kun's interest in the dark side, and he took this action by his master as a slight, believing that the Jedi were trying to keep knowledge from him and inhibit him from reaching his full potential. Exar resumed his lightsaber sparring, but when things got out of hand with his two Cathar sparring partners, Master Boss stepped in and dueled with him. And though it was a close fight, the Master ultimately gained the upper hand on the apprentice, not before Kun shattered Vodo's Force-imbued staff in a fit of rage. Angry and frustrated, Exar Kun left Dantooine against his master's wishes, and traveled to Onderon, posing as a Jedi archaeologist to hopefully gain access to Freedon Nad's Sith relics, still present within the wreckage of his flagship. Upon Kun's arrival, the Arcanian Jedi Master guarding the crash site, Arca, saw through his lie and refused to permit him access. Kun soon turned to the capital city of Iziz for the answers he sought. There, he enlisted the help of Nebo and Rask, two radicals who were reminiscent of the days when Nad ruled the city, and they guided him to Onderon's moon of Dijun, where Freedon Nad's final resting place lay. Exar Kun entered the tomb alone, and inside he encountered Freedon Nad's spirit, who, in turn, revealed to him the ancient Sith scrolls hidden within his sarcophagus, which, when deciphered, would give him the location of the last resting place of the Sith. Kun graciously accepted. Emerging from the tomb, Nebo and Rask attempted to rob Exar of the scrolls, and without even a second thought, he slew them where they stood. And after he realized what he had done, Kun was distressed that he gave in to his anger so easily. This had been the first time that he had killed in cold blood. With the aid of an electronic translator aboard his ship, Exar Kun decoded the scrolls, and the location of Korriban, the ancient homeworld of the Sith, was revealed to him, changing vectors to the world immediately. Once there, he wandered the Valley of the Sith Lords until he was attacked by guardians in the form of skeletal remains reanimated by the spirit of Freedon Nad, and guided by Nad, Exar found shelter in one of the Sith tombs, which Nad subsequently collapsed the entrance of, forcing him to further explore the tomb. This was also a trick on Nad's part, as he collapsed part of the tomb again, this time on top of Exar Kun, and as his broken body slowly began to suffocate, Freedon Nad offered the young Jedi a choice: give in to the dark side and open himself to Nad's teachings, or die. Kun chose life. Freedon Nad lifted the debris and healed Kun's shattered bones, and although he opened himself to the dark side, Exar was unconvinced that he had fully gone over, despite his new abilities such as being able to read previously illegible Sith runes. After passing Freedon Nad's tests and gaining the approval from the dark side spirits inhabiting the tomb, Exar was sent to Yavin 4, the final resting place of the Sith Lord Naga Sadow, to continue his studies in the dark side. On Yavin 4, he was immediately captured by the Massassi, an ancient Sith subspecies created by Naga Sadow, who, in their master's absence, had devolved into a primitive society. The Massassi offered up Exar Kun as a sacrifice to a monstrous Sith worm. However, Kun was able to topple the beast after tapping into his anger and acquiring Naga Sadow's Sith amulet from the Massassi priest conducting the ritual. With the power of the amulet now imbued in him, Exar Kun enslaved the Massassi, becoming their new master, and soon set about recovering Naga Sadow's ancient Sith flagship, the Corsair, and getting her spaceworthy. The new Lord of Yavin 4 wasn't sated by his new conquest, and thirsted for more power, and to strike out at the Galactic Republic. With a vision from the Sith amulet, Exar Kun embarked to the Empress Teta's system in order to find and eliminate Alima and Setal Keto, two cousins who delved in the dark side of the Force and assumed control of the system through a faction they called the Krath. Once there, he already found a Jedi assault on the Krath Palace underway, in a desperate attempt to save Ulic Qel-Droma, a Jedi Knight who went undercover with the Krath to hopefully destroy the organization from within. Now fallen to the temptations of the dark side after slaying Setal and taking Alima Keto as his lover, Ulic Qel-Droma turned away his Jedi friends. They left, now believing Ulic was long gone. This is when Exar Kun makes his appearance. Kun strode into the palace and attempted to kill Qel-Droma and Alima. However, their clash was so titanic that the Sith amulets they each wore enveloped them in energy, showing them a vision of the ancient Sith Lord Barca Ragnos, who, in turn, declared them the new Lords of the Sith, Exar Kun as the Master and Ulic Qel-Droma as the Apprentice. The armies of the Massassi and the Krath were combined, and a new Sith Empire under Exar Kun and Ulic Qel-Droma consolidated their position around the Empress Teta system, meanwhile bringing the Dark Reaper, an ancient Sith superweapon built by Naga Sadow, back to life. In 3996 BBY, after Ulic unleashed the Dark Reaper on Roxas Prime, killing thousands, he was ordered by Exar Kun to turn the weapon on his friends, and Ulic, still harboring feelings for his friends, secretly advised them on how to destroy the weapon, and that they did, at the Battle of Thule. The Empress Teta system soon found itself under siege, not by the Republic, but by the Mandalorian warrior clans under Manda-LORE the Indomitable. Meanwhile, Kun made his way to the Jedi library world of Ossus, killing Jedi Master Oden-Ur and stealing from his possession a Sith holocron. Exar Kun sowed dismay amongst several Jedi, claiming that there is hidden knowledge that the Order has withheld from them, and that Oden-Ur left him the holocron after passing peacefully. These Jedi subsequently followed Kun from Ossus to Yavin 4. Concurrently, Ulic and Manda-LORE engaged one another in single combat, and after gaining the upper hand on Manda-LORE the Indomitable, he ceded. However, instead of killing him, Ulic recruited him and his Mandawade, who in turn helped him storm the Republic shipyards at Foros, capturing many Republic warships and sabotaging the orbital facilities. Ulic opened comms to Exar Kun, informing him that he was moving to attack the Republic capital of Coruscant, to which Exar Kun was furious. Yet, in the end, he reluctantly allowed Qel-Droma to commence his assault. Back on Yavin 4, Kun twisted the minds of the Jedi that followed him from Ossus, convincing them that the Order had become corrupt and deceitful, and after shattering the Sith holocron in his hands as a show of symbolism, the dark side-imbued crystal shards found their way into the Jedi bystanders, corrupting them. With his new disciples, Kun ordered them to slay their former masters in the name of the Brotherhood of the Sith, but as their ships lifted off, Manda-LORE the Indomitable landed, bringing urgent news to Exar Kun that Ulic had been betrayed by Alima and captured, and together they departed for Coruscant. In the middle of Ulic Qel-Droma's trial, Exar Kun and Manda-LORE stormed into the senatorial chamber backed by Massassi warriors, who then engaged the Jedi. Meanwhile, Kun approached Chancellor Sidrona, using the dark side of the Force to speak through him like a meat puppet to address the Senate. The ordeal cost Chancellor Cedrona his life, and not long after, Master Vodo himself entered the chamber and challenged Exar Kun as he had on Dantooine a year before, to which Kun agreed, and jokingly added the condition that if Vodo bested him, he would repent and return to his old master's tutelage. The former master and student engaged in a fierce duel, one far more virulent than their previous one, and after Kun revealed his second blade, he smashed through the force-imbued staff of Vodo Boss once more, this time killing the Jedi Master. With Boss dead, the Chancellor dead, the Jedi Resistance temporarily subdued, and Ula Keldroma in hand, the trio, along with Alima Keto, retreated to Yavin 4 to plan the next stage. Exar Kun sent Alima and Credo, one of Kun's disciples who failed his mission to kill his former Jedi Master, to attack the Republic outpost at Complex 9 in Kun's flagship. Little did they know that they were not coming back from this operation. All went according to Exar's plan. Alima and Credo used the Corsair to rip the core out of one of the stars in the Kron cluster, causing all 10 stars of the Kron cluster to prematurely go supernova, with Ossus directly within the blast radius. He and Ula Keldroma then raided the Jedi Library on Ossus in an attempt to gather anything of value before its destruction, and there Kun dueled with Master Uad Banar, who defended a cache of ancient Jedi lightsabers with his life. Kun had nearly bested him when Banar took root over the vault, and thanks to the ability of his species, Exar was effectively denied entrance and cut his losses. Meanwhile, his Masasi loaded up what treasures they could. While Exar was making preparations to depart, Ulic was intercepted by his brother, Kay Keldroma, and the siblings dueled. Anger overcame Ulic, and he killed his own brother, sending Ulic spiraling into a pit of despair. After the evacuation and subsequent destruction of Ossus, Exar Kun retreated back to Yavin 4 and sent Manda-LORE and his warriors on a last-ditch offensive to take the Onderon system, one that would not be successful, resulting in Manda-LORE the Indomitable's death and the Mandalorians' retreat to Tajun. Ulic, meanwhile, went back to the Jedi Order and begged forgiveness. His ex-lover, Nomi Sunrider, stripped Ulic of his ability to use the Force. However, he was still able to help the Jedi by leading them to Exar Kun's hideout on Yavin 4. With the Republic swallowing up his territory and the Jedi at his gates, Exar Kun enacted one last Sith ritual, sacrificing the spirits of all his Masasi warriors, allowing his spirit to effectively become immortal. There was one flaw in the ritual, however, as Kun's spirit was not permitted to leave his temple, thanks to the combined efforts of the Jedi. Exar Kun's spirit lay dormant for thousands of years, and when the Alliance to restore the Republic shacked up on Yavin 4, using it as a base 1 year before the Battle of Yavin, Exar Kun was dimly aware of the rebels' presence. However, their occupation of his temple was somewhat unintrusive, therefore he left them be. When Luke Skywalker set up his Jedi Proxium on Yavin 4 in 11 ABY, the spirit of Exar Kun took this as a perfect opportunity to get his revenge on the Jedi, by stopping them from ever re-establishing the Order. Exar corrupted a young student of the Proxium, Kip Durin, and under his influence, Kip stole the Sun Crusher, a superweapon capable of causing stars to go supernova, and destroyed the Caridia system, killing billions, as well as engaging Luke Skywalker in a duel that sent the Jedi Master into a coma. After Kip went on the run, the remaining students of the Proxium banded together, and with the aid of Luke's out-of-body Force spirit, as well as the spirit of Master Vodo Boss, vanquished the spirit of Exar Kun forever, removing the taint of the Sith from Yavin 4. This transmission was suggested by Green October. If you have any suggestions for future transmissions, don't be afraid to drop a comment. In the meantime, keep your comm channels open for future transmissions, and don't forget to subscribe. Tad Larkin, out.